Hello everyone, it's me Katrinah. Welcome back to day 103. We're in the hundreds now of our journey through the Bible in a year. Today we're reading in 1 Samuel. We're reading chapters 15 and 16 and chapter 17, 1 through 31. So Saul is king, right? So basically we're jumping in because it's a lot. Saul is king, and he is told by God to destroy the Amalekites and just completely destroy the Amalekites. Every person, every living thing that is in their possession, the animals, everything, destroy. And so Saul goes to do that, but he doesn't fully do it. And so Samuel comes and he sees that Saul has sheep and oxen from the Amalekites, and he asks him about it. And Saul says, "Oh, well, we took from like the best of their livestock. Um, we saved them to sacrifice them to God." And Samuel says, "That's not obedience." Samuel says, "Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord?" And in reading that, I think about how often do we try to act like or trick ourselves into thinking that we are obeying God when we're really making our own plans. Well, God told me to do this. He told me to completely destroy the Amalekites and everything that they own, every animal. But I took from the best ones, but I did it because I'm going to give them back to God. I'm going to sacrifice them to God. How often do we do that? Do we say, "Well, God, like I'm going to do it like this, but I'm doing it for you"? We're lying to ourselves. God didn't ask him to sacrifice those animals to him. He told him what to do. And Saul took his own plan and did it the way he wanted to do it. God delights in obeying the voice of the Lord. So Samuel tells Saul that God no longer wants Saul to be king. And God sends Samuel to find and anoint the new king and sends him to the house of Jesse, who has 8 sons. And one by one, the first 7 all pass before Samuel, and each time God says, "Nope, nope, nope." Um, Samuel sees the first one, he's like big and strong, and God says, "Man looks at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart." And that's a verse most of us have probably heard, and this is where it comes from. Um, Samuel thought, "This son would make a good king," and God said, "You do not see his heart. I do." Um, so finally Samuel says to Jesse, "Is this all your sons?" And he says, "There's one more tending sheep." And when Samuel sees him, God says, "That is the one. Anoint him." And so Samuel anoints David. So then we come to the battlefield where the Israelites and the Philistines are. And there is a big man, a large man named Goliath of Gath. And he's a Philistine. And he comes forth every day for 40 days, morning and night, and says, "Whoever can beat me, send one man to beat me. And if he can beat me, we will be your servants. But if he can't, then you will be ours." And nobody's really going down. And David has been sent to bring food to his brothers who are fighting with the Israelites alongside, they're not fighting with the Israelites, they're fighting alongside the Israelites against the Philistines. And he is sent to bring them food, and he hears Goliath, and he starts asking the people, what's going to happen to the man who fights and beats this guy? and his brothers get annoyed with him for asking, and that's kind of where we're left off. Where we're left off with Saul hearing that David is asking these questions, and he asks them to bring David before him. And so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think we all know where that story is going. But it's cool to read these stories because if we know a lot of the Bible, we know most of the stories, right? Um, and we know the main points, but I think it's good to refresh ourselves and really read all the details, and go back through. We know David as David, right? And now we're getting to meet him um, before he was King David, before he did anything big, or um, before God has used him in these huge ways. We're meeting little David right now, and I think that's really cool. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you back here next week. Bye.